All right, here we are. Here we are. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? It's Living Large. We haven't done this in a while. It's been a while, right? We here though. I'm about to give y'all my thoughts on the Pet Semetary, the brand new one. Pet Semetary 2019 review. My thoughts. I watched it last week. Give me a sec. Let me. There you go. All right. So yeah, Pet Semetary. I watched it last week, and I've been getting mixed messages. People have been saying either it's an alright movie, or people saying that the movie was whatever movie, But I watched it, and I'm gonna let y'all know exactly what I thought of it right here. I got some notes, okay? So talk about the good. All right. I'll tell you right now. You want the abridged version? You guys want the sped up version? I like the movie. I like the movie. I thought it was pretty good. The way they did it, the way they shot it, the story. They left some things off from the original, but at the same time, they kind of changed some things. And I thought it was a pretty good movie. Legit, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I thought it actually, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's because of me and how the way I think and the way I see the movie and like just some technical. I'm an old school head too, you know what I mean? So some of the things that they did in this movie, I really, really, really liked. Especially considering that it's a horror movie and a remake, right? So already it was losing. It's losing twice, right? So usually in a horror movie, there's barely any scares. Like they do jump scares up the ass. Like nowadays, and this is what's painful actually. Nowadays, people are saying if there's no jump scares, then the movie's not scary. No more of this psychological horrors. No more of this thrillers. You know what I mean? No more of this, story-driven, pieces in terms of horror movies. Now it's, if there is a jump scare, it's a horror movie. And this is the way Hollywood has been mass-producing these movies. And I'm glad to say that this movie is not one of those movies. They do have their moments, but it's earned. It's not cheap, right? I remember the Silent Hill, part 2. They had a jump scare where it was legit Pop-Tarts popping out of a toaster. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we got to fill the quota. We got to make the movie scary. So pop that shit up, So that's garbage right there. But this movie actually was pretty good. Even the way they started the movie. And I had to go back and watch like the original. The way they started the movie in the original was just, they're doing some shots at the graveyard itself. Showing some like, headstones and just, certain things at the Pet Cemetery itself, But it's whatever, right? The way they started this movie was a top-down aerial shot of like the houses, the city, right, the woods and shit like this, and it was reminiscent to Stephen King's Shining movie, right? And I'm not gonna say Stephen King because he hated that movie. You know what I mean? It was reminiscent to the Shining movie with Jack Nicholson and shit like this. You know what I mean? The way they did it already from the get-go, it was disorienting. You know what I mean? It disoriented you a little bit. And they do the aerial shot, and they get to, like, where the houses are, and you just see, like, a burning house. And later on, when you progress through the movie, it turns out that the way they did it was that's the end shot, right? So right off the bat, they were trying to, disorient you and shit like this. You know what I mean? So I like that shit. I was like, God damn, it had me hooked right from the beginning. You know what I mean? The minute I saw that, I'm like, holy shit, this is the way they're going. And on top of that, they had that callback to The Shining, and it's, I'm not like Stephen King. I actually like that version. I know Stephen King went out of his way and made a TV movie of The Shining. And it was just, I don't know, it just flopped for me. I didn't even bother watching it, you know what I mean? I put it in the same category as the Tommy Knockers. Shout out to y'all that remember that one right there. Mess. Okay? So the way they started the movie was dope, right? The movie's atmosphere, right? The theme, the way the movie was in terms of like, the sets, the way, pretty much like the way it was, like the way they shot this movie. They relied heavy on sets, right? And like fog machines and shit like this, you know what I mean? Like there was even a part in like the main character, the father, Lewis, he ends up having like a dream sequence, and it just goes back, like he goes back to the Pet Semetary. It goes back to the woods and shit like this. And just the way they shot that, like, again, disoriented, because he's in his house, he's dreaming, he's in his house, and he hears a noise coming out on the other side of the door. And once he steps outside the door, all you see is the door frame, right? So the door frame, and the rest of it is woods. And it's just like a single door frame. It looked like an artist piece, you know what I mean? It looked like an artist rendition of, like, you know, something creepy, something, you know, and it genuinely fit the atmosphere, it fit the tone of the movie. Again, man, everything was earned in this. It wasn't like cheap or whatever, you know what I mean? So the way they shot it, the way it looked, the cemetery, like, it was genuinely creepy, and everything was practical. All the effects, the blood, the gore, all of that shit, you know what I mean? At one point you see one of the campus students, he ends up getting into an accident, a car ends up running him over or whatever, and it was some scary shit, because, like, you know, the kid is, like, legit dying on the gurney or whatever. And at one point, like, his head was exposed, his skull, and you just see the brain. And, like, one of the nurses comments, like, oh my god, his brain. And you just see it, like, you know, pulsating and shit. I'm like, god damn, you know what I mean? Again, right, all practical, you know, and the kind of shit that I like, the kind of shit that I grew up with, you know what I mean? It wasn't all CG. Like, they did have some CG moments here and there, but they didn't shy away from using practical effects, and I love that shit. You know what I mean? Again, like, it's crazy. The movie's really good, man. I'm telling you. I am telling you. If you guys are fans of the original, right, they did something different in this one. I don't want to spoil it at all. I'm pretty sure it's online everywhere. So anybody that actually wants to watch this movie, this is spoiler-free review. I forgot to mention. Spoiler-free! Right? But, they did something, they did a twist on the original story right here. And it's crazy because I was watching this movie and I was like, yo, this is it. And then all of a sudden, they swerved it. It's like, yo, they hit us with a swerve. I'm like, what? You know, it legit left me. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Crazy shit like this. And, you know, just me being a parent now, because when I watched the original, like, the original came out like 85, I think. I didn't watch the original till I was like maybe 13, 14, right? So like maybe 10 years down after whatever, and it's different. It's legit different, you know, because growing up and shit like this, you know, now I'm a parent, so I actually sympathize with Lewis, you know what I mean? I actually sympathize with the main character, and I'm like, god damn, you know, it even left me wondering, when I left the theater, it left me wondering, I'm like, you know what? If I knew someplace like the Pet Semetary where if you bury the dead, they would come back to life, and one of my family members was taken before their time, would I even consider burying them in a spot like this and bringing them back to life, knowing the fact that if I do it, they're not going to come back the same? You know what I mean? Some shit like this, it left me wondering. I even put up on my Twitter. You know, I went up and I was like, you know what? Just came out from watching Pet Semetary, and I got to ask, same question. You know what I mean? Would you guys do it? Right, and I'm going to leave y'all. I want to hear from y'all. Let me know in the comment section below, would you or would you not, you know? And if you do, why? Right? Besides the obvious. Right? Some shit like this. I was reading about the movie, behind the scenes. They were talking about the wife's sister. If you remember the original, her name was Zelda, right? In the original, she suffered from some spinal condition, which left her like bedridden and shit like this, and she barely ate, and like, you know, all this nonsense. And it was genuinely creepy in that tone, in that regard within itself. But then again, the movie relied on practical effects too, right? To the point that they actually got an actor to play that role that, you know what I mean, kind of suffered something like that, you know what I mean? They were saying that they wanted to keep that. They wanted to keep that and honor it. They didn't want to do their rendition of it. So the character of Zelda, the sister, was almost completely cut out the movie, right? And in actuality, when you actually watch the movie, Zelda was one of the highlights in terms of like the creep factor, right? The wife had her own subplot. The wife had her own tragic backstory where, you know, her sister, right, she suffered from some back condition, and the wife, as a little kid, she had to take care of her. She was, you know, being her caregiver and shit like this, you know. And there was an accident that happened or whatever. Again, I'm not trying to spoil this movie at all. Y'all really need to see this movie, right? Don't trust anybody in terms of like talking about this movie is whack or whatever. I know my man Apollo was telling me, he's like, movies called Pet Semetary, but they only resurrect one pet. In my mind, I'm like, yo, even in the original, they only resurrected one pet. You know, why are people hating on this? Why are they saying, yo, Pet Semetary? But like, how many pets do you want them to be resurrected in order for the to be to gain the title? I guess, you know what I mean. It make no sense to me. People like to complain over the dumbest shit nowadays. You know what I mean? That, and I know some people didn't like the swerve. I thought it was refreshing. You know what I mean? I thought it was refreshing. In a movie like this where it's a remake, you need to do something new. You need to bring something new to the table. And this movie did that. So I'm not going to fault it. I'm not going to hate on it. You know what I mean? I actually thought it was pretty good. And again, it made sense. It wasn't like one of those things where they tried to make it new just for the sake of making it new and trying to stand out and be different, but at the same time losing some of its logic. No, this one was, again, it was earned, man. Again, I can't stress, like, I guess the key word here is earned. Everything in this movie was earned. You know, there was barely anything that I found whack with it. You know what I mean? I do have some things, though. Last thing I want to talk about that was good, though, before I hit it with the negative. I know a lot of people love that It remake that they did. So they have a little callback to it. They have a little, shout out to It, For those of y'all that know, for those of y'all that actually watched the movie and noticed it, let me know. Let me know if y'all caught it, And anybody else that hasn't caught it, keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open, because, I've been watching these movies since I was little, and I missed some things. I was reading the trivia on the computer or whatever, and they were saying that during the party scene, the birthday party, you can hear Judd, right? He was talking about how there was a dog that had rabies, and he was like a German Shepherd or whatever, right? And that's a callback to Cujo. And I'm like, holy shit, as if I missed that, So, apparently there's a lot of callbacks too. There's a lot of callbacks. And again, the way they shot the intro, the way they did the credits and shit like this, to me, at least, I haven't seen it online, but to me, I caught it. I'm like, that's a reference to The Shining. The way they shot it from the top down. I was like, that's some crazy shit right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, negatives. Some negatives. Lewis. The actor that played Lewis, right? Jason Clarke, I believe his name is. Yeah, Jason Clarke. There were certain scenes where his acting felt flat, right? And I don't know if he did it on purpose, because the original actor that played Lewis, again, his scenes were flat too. Like in that movie, his kid just died, right? And he's just so monotone and nonchalant with it. And they even I watched the video where they showed before and after, right? So this is before his kid died, monotone, flat acting. After the kid died, monotone, flat acting. And it's all the same. It's all the same. And in this one right here, especially there was a scene where when they go to bury the cat, Church, when they go to bury him, at first they're going to bury him in the actual plot, like Pet Semetary. But then Judd ends up telling Lewis, he's like, how much love did your daughter love the cat? And he's like, she loved him more than anything. He's like, all right, let's go. He ends up taking him up across, right, across the barrier with the deadwoods and shit, and end up burying him there. But before they did that, the convo, especially from Lewis, it was flat. You know what I mean? What's wrong with right here? I'm like, dog, you've been getting dream sequences, you've been getting warned and shit like this. So where's that sense of foreboding? Where's that sense of fear? Be like, oh shit, we're actually doing this. We're actually moving up. You know what I mean? And I don't know. To me, it seemed like he should have had some kind of. He should have emoted, right? I'm not a thespian actor or whatever, but to me, it's like, you should have emoted in that scene, man. You know what I mean? Add some kind of emotion, fear, right? Anything. You know what I mean? Anything's better than just monotone flat. What's wrong with right here? Some shit like that. That was whack. The last track that they played at the soundtrack, this is kind of a nitpick right here, but I didn't know the track is called Pet Semetary, right? And while I was doing some reading, it turns out that it was a cover from the original track that the Ramones did back in the original. And I just found the lyrics to be really, really cheesy. Really, really cheesy. Such highlights as, I don't want to be buried in Pet Semetary because I don't want to come back to life again and some shit. I'm like, God damn, yo, for real? Like, like when I heard it in the theater, I'm like, yo, this shit is whack. What is this? You know what I mean? Like, and then again, like when I looked it up, it turns out it's actually a remake. So, you know, I guess I can give that a pass. You know, again, it's just a nitpick. But other than that, man, yo, this movie, it's not like in the same category as It. Like if It was right here, this movie would be like just down here. You know what I mean? But being down here isn't a bad thing compared to all the other horror movies. You know what I mean? Because every other horror movie is like below. You can't even see how low it is. You know what I mean? You can't even catch it on camera. That's how low they are. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. All right, so out of 4 stars, because I don't do 5. I don't trust, you know, odd numbers. I do even numbers. Out of 4 stars, I give it a solid 3. You know what I mean? I give it a solid 3. Y'all need to watch this movie. If you have seen this movie, let me know in the comment section below what y'all thought of it. And if you haven't, y'all gonna watch it? Yes, no? You waiting for the DVD release, or you gonna watch it another way? I'm not gonna tell you how you gonna watch it. Y'all can let me know in the comment section. But that's that. You know what I mean? That was Pet Semetary 2019. I'm glad I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. I got 2 more movies I want to watch. Hopefully I can catch Us. And then Shazam. Shazam, not, you know what I mean? It's whatever to me if I do or not. But I do want to watch Us. And on top of that, Avengers Endgame just came out. So I got to watch that shit. You know what I mean? That one is on the high list. Priority. You know what I mean? Because I got to, man. I've been following with this shit right here. Right? But yeah. We're going to kick it back to the tunes. The time now what? It's 4:28. Goddamn. All right, so we got Band of Gypsies, Cypress Hill. Want to say much love go out to Cypress Hill. They just made on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Could you believe that? Could you believe that story? Rags to riches, right? Imagine living in Los Angeles, walking down Hollywood Walk of Fame, seeing all them stars, and then all of a sudden now you are one of them stars. You know what I mean? Some crazy ass shit. Congrats to the big OG, Cypress Hill. And hopefully more to come. Band of Gypsies off their Elephants on Acid album. Check it out. The track is hot. Y'all already know what it is. You rock with Live at Large, Home Invasion Show, baby. Yeah. That was Pet Semetary. We haven't done this in a while. I'm glad I'm doing it now, though, you know. Feels good being back. I'm not going to lie, right? Let me know what y'all think, though, because I love to hear from y'all just as much as you like to hear from me. You know what I mean? Comment section below, Facebook, YouTube. Y'all already know what it is. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, all of that shit. You know what I mean? And again, let me know what y'all think. Live at Large, Home Invasion Show, Ottawa, Canada. Take care of yourselves and each other like Jerry Springer say. Peace out, y'all.